Hi, everybody. It's Cajun Production. As you recognize that noise, that sound, it is X-Men, 90s animated X-Men. Today it's me and Pedro on this podcast. How you doing?
Oh, I'm feeling well. How about yourself?
Just good, man. So what's drop of the week?
Well, this week we have the release of X-Men Apocalypse in the theaters. It comes out this week for the United States. It's been out in the global market for 2 weeks now, I think.
Yeah, I think it's been about 2 weeks.
Yeah. So now we're getting a taste of it. Danny here has been able to see the movie. I have not. So I'll be asking Danny his opinions on the movie and his opinions on the X-Men in general. So first of all, how do you feel about the X-Men? Are you a big fan of the X-Men series, or do you read the comics? Do you watch the cartoon? How's your relationship with the X-Men?
I read the X-Men comic books. I watch the 90s anime series. I have the whole collection. I love that show. I even try to watch some of that. Was it early 2000 they did the X-Men Evolution?
Oh yeah, I love that, man. I remember that.
It was good. Something totally different from my 90s X-Men series. So I wasn't like, oh, this sucks. It was good enough. Mm-hmm. It had a change. A lot of storylines were mistake. It was pretty interesting how they brought her character to life in this show more than X-Men's the 90s series. Like, yeah, she had her interaction with Rogue on and off, but like in this one, it was Rogue and her and the X-Men most of the time, and the Brotherhood always get involved. Not this first season, they're always around.
Okay, so now that you mentioned you know how you feel about the X-Men and your relationship with your childhood, how do you feel about the films? You know, starting with the original X-Men film back in 2000, all the way to now X-Men Apocalypse.
When the X-Men first came out in the early 2000s, the first movie.
I think it was 2000 actually.
Yeah, you're right. 2000. How did I forget that? I mean, that was a movie that we've been waiting and talking about back in even the late 90s. I mean, they even threw out a semi-X-Men movie, but it wasn't called X-Men. It was Generation X. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember watching that. I was like probably 12 or 13 years old. I was probably 1997, 98 around that time. Then you had X-Men 2. I love X-Men 2 because you had Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler was awesome.
I was about seeing the movie.
Exactly, but I love how they continue talking about Wolverine. Yes, he's a popular X-Men character, but a lot of people was like, oh, great. They shouldn't just call this X-Men 2. They should just call it Wolverine.
See, I get it. Personally, I'm exhausted of watching Wolverine so much, but I get why they do have him focus on Wolverine in the films, because they need someone to focus their attention on and be like the main star. Personally, I would prefer if it was Cyclops, but Wolverine is a popular character, and I get why he is the center for most of the X-Men films that we'll be talking about later on.
Exactly. And as you see in those slideshow podcasts, certain pictures that you see, the pretty much I show you the first X-Men, original X-Men, classic Iceman, Archangel. Well, not Archangel. It was Angel. You had Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Beast. And then later on during the X Factor series, this is pretty much after when they introduced Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Storm, Colossus, and someone else. I don't remember exactly. And so the original X-Men spin off into X Factor. And as you saw there, some of those pictures, basically Archangel was captured by Apocalypse. Transform him to Archangel. Mm-hmm. Angel to Archangel. Just remember that.
Okay, we'll mention this, in a couple of minutes, so you'll see why he's referencing Archangel specifically.
Yeah. I read those comic books growing up with my cousins. I know about X-Men, background, history. Professor X probably got killed already 3 or 4 times in this last 20, 30 years.
It builds character.
It does.
It represents Deadpool.
I mean, when you hear of Magneto, you're like, damn, that's Xavier. Mm-hmm. When we saw First Class, that wasn't the First Class movie. For me, that was like, okay, this movie is mostly about Charles Xavier and Magneto.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I was pretty cool about it. I was hoping to see actual Iceman, like the very First Class, but overall, First Class was a pretty decent movie. Just the title should just be totally something different.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been actually Generation X.
Mm-hmm. And then, comes Days of Future Past. How do you feel about the movie?
Days of Future Past. I love how Bryan Singer comes back, and once again, the focal point is Wolverine. Yes, he is a big draw to the film industry. So, at the ending of that movie, we saw Apocalypse, young Apocalypse, with the Four Horsemen. Now,
in Salvador.
Exactly. You hear in Salvador. So, Apocalypse in this movie, how I feel about him, Ivan Ooze comes to mind.
Go Power Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, the Horseman was pretty cool, like how they first see him trying to bring the Horseman, but I feel like they underused the Horseman in this movie. You would understand when you see the movie, and then, once again, Xavier Magneto storyline is in this. Like, they're always talking about them. And I understand they have such a long history. Then, toward the end, watch your ending credits. Some of you guys are going to be like, oh my god, this guy is in it. You have your 2-minute scene of Weapon X, Wolverine. You have Jean Grey, Cyclops meeting each other for the first time. It's pretty cool, but could have been so much better from my perspective. By reading the comics and watching the X-Men anime series.
How do you feel about the film overall? Do you think the story was well crafted, or do you think there was some sloppy messes here or there?
There was a lot of mess. I mean, if you didn't like Batman vs Superman, I don't know how you don't like this movie, in my eyes. Because honestly, it could have been so much better. You thought Bryan Singer comes back and he would give us an actual great X-Men movie, but at the end of the day, it was bad for me.
I mean, he did direct Superman Returns, so let's not forget that, guys.
Good point. So everybody, whoever's going to go out there and watch X-Men Apocalypse, if you remember your 90s X-Men series in the comic books, you're going to see what I'm talking about. Because I was a little disappointed that did not even use Apocalypse's full ability in this movie. Like,
so you think they didn't do the character justice in this movie?
They didn't, because, I mean, yeah, they made him strong like if he was a god, but it was like, he touched Storm, her hair turns white, and she had like an orgasm and shit, and I was like, really? Okay.
For reference for X-Gasm, look up Hunter's Trailers, X-Men 90s show. You'll have a good time.
So everybody, when you see X-Men Apocalypse, enjoy it if you can. For me, I didn't. Have a good day. Enjoy the X-Men clip.
Mystique impersonates you very well, Mr. Worthington.
Worthington is no more. Now there is only Archangel. Let the world beware.
Your world passes away. Together we shall forge a new one in fire and blood. The future is transformed. I am the instrument to purify you. The evil human illusions must be cut away. You shall tear down the old order. Those who oppose me shall perish through my legions of destruction. Famine, pestilence, war, and my greatest creation, death, the winged avenger. From the ashes of this world, I will build a better one. Force my husband